Whoops. There we go. What is going on, legends? How we feeling? How we doing? You can't see it, but what's up, guys? How we doing? Happy Monday. We got a lovely coaching call today. I hope you guys are doing well. Doing great. Doing great. Yo, I think it was Noud. I think you sent me a message on school, dude. Thank you so much for sending that message, man. I really do appreciate that. That was freaking awesome what you sent. Hunter, what's up, bro? Jet, Noud, Pedro, Tuan, what's up, dude? Welcome to the call. Guys ready for a legendary one today? I'm really, per usual, I'm really freaking excited. Really freaking excited, man. Shit. How's your guys' weekend? Y'all have fun? You guys run some ads this weekend or what? I mean, that's a perfect recipe for a fun weekend. Just running ads. I can't think of a better way to spend my weekend personally. All right. I hate this blurring. This is distracting. Okay. That's better. By the way, guys, I got these actually really funny story. I met these entrepreneurs at this event that I was speaking at, and they started talking about this brand. And I was like, oh, cool. Like, what's the brand? What do you guys sell? It's like, oh, we sell, like Zins. I'm like, yeah, of course I know Zins. I don't take Zins because if I did, I would get extremely addicted. But he's like, yeah, well, we basically have these things like Zins, these little couch pillows, as I call it. But instead of having nicotine in them, they have like nootropics. They have mushrooms, like really high quality organic mushrooms like lion's mane, chaga, uh, reishi, etc. I was like, wait a minute, what's the name of the brand? And they're like, they're called flow pouches. And I'm like, guys, I fucking bought your product. I have one in right now. So they're really cool guys. This is not a paid sponsorship, but I do know for a fact that if I were to take Zins, it would not be good for me, man. I have enough addictions already. Namely caffeine. Got serious problems, and by problems I mean blessings. All right, guys. So for today's call, anyways, what I want to do today is this going to be a pretty open call. So I'd love to dive into anything that you guys are particularly interested in. So it's going to be like really pretty open. Um, if somebody wants to have their ads reviewed, their stores reviewed by me, this is going to be a call like that. So it's going to be like very personal. I didn't have anything particular I wanted to go over with. I'm happy to bounce into some AI things or what have you. But let's just start with this, guys. I want you to in the chat just type in like the number one constraint that's keeping you from getting to, let's say, like 1K a day. And if you're already at 1K a day, make it like 10K a day or 50K a day, 100K a day, whatever the next milestone is for you. Just type in what you believe like the number one constraint is. And maybe, I don't think I can make people like, I don't know if I can make people panelists or whatnot, but if we want to do that as well, we definitely can. But let's just start with some general stuff. Okay. So Jet, you said the biggest constraint right now is finding ads that perform. Do you want to talk about like what the product is that you're selling? Is it specific to a product or is it just in general? Let me know. And by the way, the more specific you guys can be, the better my help and advice and guidance is going to be for you. So if you can give me numbers, statistics, your ad spend, your CPA, your CTR, your CPC, all that stuff, the better detail that you give me, the better response I'll give you back, right? I'm like ChatGPT, the better inputs, the better outputs. Oh, actually, I'll start with this. This is a nice little golden nugget for you guys here. There's a really, really good video about understanding LLMs. And I'm actually on my second view through it because it's that fucking good. Let me find it. It's quite literally called How I Use LLMs. I'm going to drop it in the chat for you guys here, but I highly recommend You guys know I'm so freaking bullish on AI, but please, please watch this video. It is pretty long, so you'll have to probably split it up. It's 2 hours long, but super, super valuable in understanding how these models actually work, because I feel like most people don't really understand. They're just like, oh, I have this conversation with this piece of technology and it spits out a bunch of information, but really it's just you know, it's basically the way that this guy explains it is an LLM is basically like a zip file of the internet. So if you were to take all of the information on the internet up to a certain point, if you guys remember the first ChatGPT model that came out, it was only updated until 2021, even though it launched in like 2022. So if you asked it anything within like the last year at that time, it wouldn't be able to answer with accuracy because it wasn't updated on that, right? Since then, we've had more updated models every time. But imagine if you were to take basically a zip file of the entire internet in kind of a text-based file, and you having a conversation with this zip file is basically like ChatGPT is a zip file combined with this kind of neural network where it has all these connections to this information that is in this particular zip file. So it's not like understanding the fundamentals of this technology, I really believe, is going to help you use it more effectively. And instead of like going into ChatGPT and being like, rewrite this ad for me, you can actually have a conversation with it. You can understand, tokens, you can understand context window, and that's going to help you to be more effective with using these tools. Because at the end of the day, you guys are extremely, extremely lucky being born and starting ecom in the time that you are. I wish that I got started in ecom when this is like the AI revolution is unfolding right before our very eyes, because there's so many tools at your disposal. And if you don't learn how to use them, you're just going to get left behind. Anyways, definitely watch that video, bookmark it, do whatever you got to do. Fantastic video. Let's go into okay, Hunter, perfect. Drop some numbers for me. My man. All right. So you initially said finding winning creatives without burning through my bank account. Okay. CPM 60, CTR 3.6, CPC $2.50, AOV 101. Nice. Nice. CVR 4%, ADC 11%. What? Okay, break even ROAS 1.5. What is your ROAS then, Hunter? If your break even is 1.5, that's a little bit high. It's not terrible. Um, it's looking based off this data, bro, that CPMs could potentially be your issue because your CTR above 3% is good. So that's a good CTR. Your CPC is high, but that's only because it's a consequence of your high CPMs. AOV is phenomenal. I don't know what the price of your front end product is, dude, but to get an AOV over 100, like a lot of people, even at my level, don't know how to do that. And shout out to you. That's fucking huge. So pat yourself on the back. Conversion rate at 4% is also fantastic. Um, oh, never mind. It's $100 price point. Sorry, dude. I gotta take it back. All right. That's funny. That's a really solid price point for a product. And you're converting at 4%, dude, on $100 product. That is very difficult to do. 1.45 break even ROAS. So you're just basically like slightly. Oh, ROAS. Right now your ROAS is rated break even 1.45, and the break even is like 1.5. Okay, so you're right around break even, if not just like a little bit under. Okay, got you. Cool. All right. So guys, let's break down these numbers together, all right? Because I want to make this valuable for everybody. And if Hunter, at any point in time, if you want me to like not share anything, just let me know privately, and I'm happy to do that. But I think this is super valuable. I won't like say the product or anything, of course, unless you want me to. But this is the data here. Oh, I'm not sharing my screen. Ha, classic. All right, got out the trusty dusty Miro board. So this is the data here that Hunter shared with me, guys. All right. So this is my thought process, because the more that you can understand how I think, the better decisions you're going to make. I can spoon feed you guys all day, but ultimately I want you to be independent and grow amazingly successful businesses. And to do that, I have to teach you how to think. So when I'm going through this data, this is my thought process. Okay. Number one, CPMs a little high. Hunter, if you could tell me the niche privately or publicly, if you don't care. because the reason I ask that is because a lot of times if you are selling in an ultra competitive niche, for example, anything related to your physical appearance, basically. So, yep, it's well, that's not terrible. But he's selling more or less in like the health and beauty market. So that's like one of the natural causes, right? It's a lot of times you do have a little bit higher CPMs, especially if it's a newer ad account, right? So this is something that is like outside of KPI. So what I'm really doing here, guys, is I'm going through and I'm seeing what is within KPI, what is outside of KPI. CPMs a little high. This is something that is highly complex, which I'll get to in a little bit, but that's the first thing that I see here. CTR, phenomenal. 3.6%. We're shooting for above 3%, is really good. Above like 2% is solid. So 3.6% is phenomenal, dude. If you could also tell me, Hunter, your hook and hold rates. You said that they were good, but I want to know the exact numbers. CPC, this is something that would be outside of KPI as well, unfortunately. But this is literally just a consequence of having high CPMs because your CTRs are freaking amazing. But it's just so expensive to get every new impression that's being reflected in your CPC. So this is going to be the biggest area of improvement, but really this is just an indicator of the high CPMs, right? Ash, to answer your question, solid range for CPMs really depends, dude, because we have campaigns that are actually running at $60 CPMs and they're profitable. Which I'll get to in a second. But typically I want to see like no more than 40. So lower than 40, ideally even lower than 30 is kind of a good range to be in. But it's so niche dependent. Like there's so many things that go into CPMs, which again I'll get to. So AOV is actually not good. This is another thing that's outside of KPI. I thought it was good because it's $100, and typically, our BBA clients sell products that are like $30, $50, $70. So I was like, oh, not terrible, maybe even really good. But he's selling at $100 price point. All right, so the KPI here is KPI for AOV that you should honestly be shooting for, dude, especially with a $100 product, is you want to shoot for like a 2x front end AOV. What that means is like your front end is the main product price that you're selling here, right? So you're selling this for $100. 2x front end AOV would be a $200 AOV. So I just want to plant that in your brain. It's not going to be immediate, but long term, that's what you want to aim for, bro. Okay. CVR, very good. Very good, dude. For $100 product, a 4% conversion rate is good. It's quite good, dude. So really good work here. This is actually helping compensate for all this. If these were worse, then you'd be in a much worse position. But thankfully, you know how to run some good ads. It's just the CPMs that are kicking you right now. Add to cart percentage as well, very well within KPI. Everything funnel side, aside from the AOV, is within KPI. So the add to cart ratio, the KPI here is like 10% ideally. So if you have 100 people that actually view your website, then you want to see at least 10 of them actually add the product to cart. Okay. The next thing you said here is good hook and hold rates, good average watch time. So the hook rate specifically, Hunter sent it to me, is 60%, which is fantastic. That is within KPI. So we'll give that a little check. KPI here would be 50%. The hold rate, you said 26%, which is also within KPI. This is very dependent on the length of the ad, but this is about a 90-second ad. So yeah, really good hold rate. 25% here is a KPI. So we're also within KPI here. Okay, so hook rate and hold rates are in fact good. Good average watch time. All country CPMs are about the same. Hunter, please tell me what countries you're actually running in, because I assumed that it was actually only the US. But the fact that you're running in multiple countries and your CPMs are still $60 is a little bit more of a red flag. Top 4, no US. Wow. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. That's exactly why CPM is concerning. It's a good and a bad thing, dude, because if you look at all the other metrics, you're actually doing so many things right here. So like, don't beat yourself up. This is actually, I'm really glad, Hunter, you're sharing this stuff, because this is amazing learning lesson for all these guys. Break even ROAS 1.54. And the actual ROAS, I think, is a 1.45. Yeah. So he's currently at a 1.45. The break even is 1.5. So that's obviously not within KPI. Very close, though. So just under break even, right? So if we look at a summary of what we got going on here, what is really causing, what is the 80-20 here, right? Because all the ad side metrics outside of the CPM is fantastic. Your click-through rate is good, very good. On cold traffic, 3.6%, good. Conversion rate, good. Add to cart ratio, good. Hook rate, good. Hold rate, good. The break-even ROAS could be a little bit better, dude, especially for an $100 product. I could do the math, but again, you want to make sure you're hitting those two KPIs of profitability, which is like a minimum $20 to $30 in gross margin and a 3x cost of goods sold. So I'm assuming that this product is closer to like $40 for you shipped. And that's why your break-even ROAS is just a little bit high. So that could be something you experiment with down the line. But again, that's not the root cause of the problem here. The root cause is really the CPMs here, right? Yeah, $35 cost of goods. So you have $60 CPMs, which is causing a downstream effect specifically on the CPC because, I mean, I can pull open a calculator here in a second. But if you were to just reduce the CPC and all the other metrics stayed the same, dude, you would be scaling like a motherfucker because you have a lot of really good things here. Okay. So now we got to tackle the CPMs issue. So we isolated the issue. And by the way, guys, this is what I mean when I say like you have to read the data. This is really what reading the data looks like. And this is, you know, everything that we teach you inside of VBA. As you can see, Hunter here, you're doing so many things right, dude. So really don't be hard on yourself. You're very close. The most concerning thing is the CPMs because as Hunter said, so Hunter is running ads in the top 4, excluding the US. So I'm guessing that would be including New Zealand. I mean, typically it's like Big 5 is with New Zealand, right? But in that case, it would be UK, Australia, Canada, New Zealand. If I have that right, Hunter, you can let me know. The US is by far like the most expensive country for you to advertise in for the most part. So the fact that you remove the US, you actually remove the most expensive country from your targeting, and you still have CPMs that are outside of your KPI is not good. That means that there's something going on that Facebook doesn't like about whatever it is that you're running. That could be the language on the creatives. It could be the fact that you're just running on a new ad account. Hunter, if you could let me know about the ad account, like agency ad account or not, is it a relatively new ad account? When was it opened? How much spend is in it, etc. Because the CPMs things, guys, I'm not gonna lie, it's not the most easy thing to solve, and it requires a lot of testing, and a lot of times that it requires this period of time where you're just throwing a lot of shit against the wall. The good news is with you, Hunter, you have creatives that are actually working. You have a funnel that's converting. We just got to figure out what is causing the CPMs to go up. Okay. So let me scroll down here and let's kind of break down CPMs a little bit for you guys, because I'm sure Hunter's not the only one, you know, struggling with this. CPMs are a multifaceted issue. There's a lot of ways to break them down. If I were to divide this into a few different things, I would say one of the things that actually causes the spike in CPMs is the ad. Another one would be something related with the the funnel, which is like the way that Facebook sees this is the landing page experience. And then the final thing that it could potentially be is something with the infrastructure, which I'll explain in just a second. Okay. Oh, it is an agency account. Okay. Well, I wasn't expecting that. $3,000 to $4,000 worth of spend on it. Got a copyright strike on it a few weeks ago, so I was wondering if that caused the high CPMs. That's very possible, bro. Was the copyright strike from Facebook? If so, that's very likely what caused it. So here's the thing with agency ad accounts, guys. Look, I've spent a lot of money on ads. I've ran on agency ad accounts before. I have also ran on regular ad accounts before. if you were to ask me the ad accounts that are more likely to be successful, is it going to be an agency account or a regular account? Like which one, Mark, have you actually spent more money on? It would be the regular accounts. It would not be an agency account. It's because the problem with like the whole, let's just call it like under the table side of Facebook, like people that can like spy on your ad account. You have people that can get your ad accounts back unbanned, like insiders, basically the black market of Facebook stuff. The problem with this is that a lot of people are just super duper not legit. So they could say that it's like an agency account, but maybe it's not. Maybe it's a very low quality agency account. The fact that it only has 3 to 4K in spend on it is a little alarming. Because that's not a lot of spend. I mean, look, CPMs also, guys, is just a good exercise in general. You always want to view things in the eyes of Facebook, because in the eyes of Facebook, let's say I'm Facebook and you, Hunter, in this case, you're basically like my client, let's say. And I have all these users on my platform. And I want to make sure that I provide them with a really, really good experience, because ultimately the name of the game for me is, of course, selling more ad space at a high rate as possible, which a high rate is the CPMs. And so if I want to have an advertiser stay on my platform, they need to prove it to me by showing that they have ads that customers actually like, that are not evoking some terrible response in the users. So that would be the very first piece of the CPM puzzle, which is the ad. So Hunter, obviously I can't review this for you right now, but I want you to take a few minutes, man, not right now, but after the call, take a few minutes, watch your ad from the perspective of Facebook, right? What is the creative copy like? What is the primary ad copy like as well? What is the general sentiment that is associated with this particular ad copy? If it is anywhere that is below neutral, so if it is negative, or even if it's neutral, that's not necessarily a good thing, but it could be providing or creating like a negative emotional response in the viewers, which is tough because it's a balance that you have to play, bro. Because obviously copywriting in and of itself is supposed to be an emotional craft, right? It's identifying the main core emotions of a market, selling directly to those, justifying with logic, etc. So it's going to be a balance. I actually do have a tool now that I'm kind of thinking out loud here. Give me just a second here. But I basically have a tool that was from, one of my friends, where it basically analyzes your ad copy through a custom GPT, specifically through the Facebook TOS, so that you can know if your ad copy is compliant before you use it. So for example, let's say this is one of them right here, right? I analyze ads for compliance with Meta's policies, the social ads compliance reviewer. I'll drop this in the chat for anybody who wants it. Yep. There's also, like, one of my friends even started a whole software around this particular idea because so many people struggle with it. But dude, I'll just make this part of your QC process, because if I were to guess, dude, I don't actually want to spend too much time on here because I want to get to some other people. But when it comes to your CPMs, there's only a few things that it could be, right? Number one is you're running ads that Facebook doesn't like. This could be directly calling out things about your market that are negative. This could be a specific scroll stopper that you're using. Keep in mind, Facebook has an AI that is analyzing all of your creative copy, all of the elements of the creative and the primary text as well. And if it causes any type of negative association with your viewer, especially in the market that you are, I'm not going to say the exact name, but that's that specific sub segment of the health market, you have to be careful, bro. You can't like directly call out what people are actually struggling with in a really, really emotional way, because that's not going to provide the best experience for the users in the eyes of Facebook. That also extends to the landing page, right? Facebook has since removed this feature, but I know this because I've been running ads on Facebook since 2018. They actually used to tell you when they would flag your URL, because it has things on there that are not like approved by TOS. For example, like perfect examples like before and after photos. So if you have any type of before and after photo on there, usually it's a great way to increase your CPMs because Facebook hates before and afters. And so maybe there's something specifically on your landing page. Remember, when you're running ads, bro, you start spending money, you start sending traffic. Facebook sends all these bots to your landing page, and sometimes they go deep. Sometimes they don't even stop at like the main lander. Like if you're running a pre-lander, they'll go through the pre-lander as well, and then click your buttons, go to the next page, analyze all of that. So like they'll send their bots through your almost through your entire funnel. Typically anywhere from like 1 to 3 pages in your funnel. Make sure that it's actually quote unquote up to code, up to standard. And if it's not, dude, they won't tell you. They used to tell you, they don't anymore, and they'll just up your CPMs. So that's another thing. The final thing that it also could be is the infrastructure. And by infrastructure, what I mean is that you have like a particular asset that is flagged. So a lot of times CPMs vary very, very greatly when it comes to ad accounts. So I told you guys, like we use agency ad accounts. We right now have better performance through and through on non-agency ad accounts. Like I've used them before. I'll probably continue to test them, but I'm telling you right now, just based off the data that we're running with, we're getting better results from our own accounts. Now, granted, these own accounts, they have hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars worth of spend in them. Because again, if you're viewing things through the eyes of Facebook, they have no reason to keep your CPMs low if you have like $500 worth of ad spend in your ad account. Of course, you're going to have high CPMs, right? Not everybody deserves to advertise on Facebook. And if I'm Facebook, like I care most if I were to do an 80-20 and I'm Facebook, I care most about the massive, massive advertisers that I know have a proven track record of not destroying the user experience. And yeah, ultimately that don't make the user experience complete dog shit. So this is the final thing. Maybe so in terms of infrastructure, yes, there is like the Facebook ad account. Dude, there's also like the page that you're running at. Maybe there's a flag on your page and that is increasing your CPMs. Maybe it's something with your pixel. Maybe it's something with the domain, that Facebook doesn't like. So since you had the copyrighted thing, I think you said that was actually through Facebook. So that could be. Yeah. Okay. So you said the first image is a before and after. I can probably stop right there. That's probably the issue, dude. You're gonna have to find a way around that. Either you can use a pre-lander like a bridge page or something. But that's most likely, dude, what happened. And you got DMCA twice. Golly, brother. But keep in mind, dude, DMCA's they're not shared with Facebook. A DMCA is it's a Shopify thing. However, when you get DMCA, your lander goes down, right? Which means that time between when your lander goes down and you actually turn off your ads, you're sending traffic to a blank landing page. How do you think Facebook likes that? They fucking hate it. So you could also be penalized because of that. So yeah, a lot of stuff here, but dude, hopefully that was helpful. Thank you for providing the info. And yeah, dude, that was probably the main issue. All right, let's move on. Guys, real quick, was that helpful? If that was helpful, just type a W in the chat for me. I think stuff like this is probably some of the most helpful stuff that I could do. Okay, Pedro, let's move on to you, bro. So amount spent until today, 28.50 euros, CPMs 30 euros, health niche, big market, market big four. Okay. Unique CTR, 4.8%. It's beautiful. CPC, €1.15. CPA 22 euros, ROAS 1.6, CVR 5%. Wow. Okay. Actually, I already know what the main issue is here. So let me paste this on the screen so you guys can all see this. But dude, oh, you guys are actually doing so many things right here, which makes me really, really happy. Okay. So I just read off all this data to you right here. Mm. Who was it that sent this message? Pedro? Pedro, can you do me a favor, man? Send me a message. What is your cost of goods sold? How much does it cost you to buy and fulfill the product, including shipping? Because look, let's go through this again, guys. Right? This will be once again very helpful. CPM's 30. Is it good? Is it bad? Well, it's not terrible. It's not as bad as Hunter. Sorry, Hunter. So this is within KPI. I mean, could it be better? Yes, but it's in the health niche, typically a little bit more expensive niche, and you're running the big four, including the US. So overall, dude, not bad. Unique CTR. Wow. Phenomenal job. 4.8%, damn near 5% on your ads, dude. Really good work. The KPI there is 3%. You're within KPI. CPC, 115 euros, definitely within KPI here. I think anything under like $1.50, if you're running the big four, should be kind of something to shoot for. CPA, 22 euros. So this isn't bad. But I want to break this down a little bit more, right? ROAS is 1.6, a little high. I'm sorry, that's a ROAS. I meant to say break even ROAS. So that's down here, 1.75. That is a little high. ROAS currently is 1.6. Conversion rate 5%. Hook rate is just slightly outside of KPI. I really want to be shooting for 50%, man, but because your CPC is so good, it doesn't even matter. Hold rate is also good. Selling price is basically 40. I'm guessing that's supposed to be euros as well, like 40 euros. All right, so if we look at all these numbers here, man, you've spent a good amount on this particular product. CPMs are within KPI, KPI. I mean, ROAS is, we'll get back to that. Conversion rate is phenomenal. You didn't put your AOV on here. I'm sure it's, just running straight to a standard Shopify store, so it's probably not super high, maybe around like 40. Hook rate slightly outside of KPI, but again, everything is relative compared to the most important metrics, which in this case like CPC, which is pretty good. Okay. The problem is that in the total, I'm negative. It's true that I have had many profitable days, but the unprofitable days eat up the profit. Yep. I've been trying this product for almost 2 months, and I haven't been able to reach $500. Can you see that? 89 creators, obviously not with time of testing other products in pre. Okay. Once again, actually very similar to the story of Hunter, right? You have a lot of good things working for you here, bro. A lot of good things. CPMs within check in a competitive market. CTR is good. Everything on the ad side actually is really quite good. And honestly, man, I kind of want to do some calculations here because some of these metrics look almost too good. I mean, dude, you're at a 5% conversion rate. It's really fucking good. Like we shoot for 3% plus, and you're at a 5% conversion rate with pretty solid CPCs. Yet you're still below break even. All right. So the number one thing that stands out to me here is going to be your break even ROAS is too high. I understand that you have VAT, you're in the EU. Sucks. But bro, it's going to be hard to maintain this return on ad spend just to break even at scale. That's really what's eating you right now because you say that it's somewhere in the chat here. Like the average cost of affiliate product is like 10 or 11 bucks. That's good. But if that was the case, then your break even ROAS would not be 1.75, right? So there's a few things you can do here. Let me get back to chat in just 1 second. So let's do this, man. Let's just average up and say that you're selling for 40 and on average you get the products for 10. So you have a $10 COGS. You have 40 front end price, which means that your net margin, I'm sorry, your gross margin, right, is going to be 30 bucks. Just by this alone, if you had the CPA that you actually did, you're actually profiting quite a bit. You actually are profitable, but you're not actually profitable, of course, because you have VAT to pay for, right? Which takes your break-even ROAS. With this economics here, if we were to not factor in the VAT here, your break-even return on ad spend would be 1.3. Yeah, thank you, Tuan, for that. It would be a 1.3, man. in which case you would be profitable. So what's really killing you here is the VAT. And I know that there's not a whole lot you can do about that. So let's talk about some solutions. Number one thing that you should be testing out is the price points. So instead of selling for 40, you should try selling for 50. Because almost everything, dude, almost everything here. Alex, can you ask that question in like the total in the everyone chat, not just like the hosts and panelists, so that Pedro can see it? So, oh, not 1.3%. And keep in mind, like the higher your break-even return on ad spend is, guys, like the more exponentially difficult it is. It's not like linearly difficult. Like the difference between a 1.3 break-even ROAS and 1.2 is substantial. But the difference between a 1.9 and a 2 is not very substantial. So the first thing that I want you to do here, man, is test new price points. Specifically, I would go straight to testing $50 or 50 euros, whatever it is. Because in that case, like I'm not going to calculate what your actual VAT is that you're paying. It looks to be quite substantial. But if you add an additional $10 worth of margin, yeah, you'll probably see a little drop in your conversion rate. You'll probably see a little increase in your CPA. But dude, everything like everything on the funnel side already is doing well. You're already at a 5% conversion rate. Worst case scenario, it drops to a 4. You're still above KPI. Your CPC is also still phenomenal. And unless you say like the exact price on the ads, nothing is going to change there either. And then you have the CTR, that should stay just about where it is. The CPM should also just about stay where they are. The only thing that'll probably change here is going to be your CVR, which is that's going to affect the CPA. Pedro, do me a favor, man. Send that message you sent me to everyone, not just to the hosts and panelists, because I think you guys can help each other out here. There you go. So yeah, dude, I understand. I get the VAT thing. There's not a whole lot that you can do if you want to play by the books. So with that said, you just have to make your margins better. That's as simple as it is, man. Pedro, could you type in your AOV as well, please? And then we'll move on to the next one. Okay, so you have like a 20% tax on your ads. Oh god. Yeah, AOV is like 40. So just basically exactly what I expected. So for you, man, two priorities here, okay? Two action points. Number one is to test new price points. I would begin, and again, this should be like a separate campaign, separate everything. Keep all the creatives, all the funnel the same. Just test it, externally. Don't just go in and change the price because Facebook gets that. You should be testing the $50. Uh, you should be testing the $50 price point, man. That would be the first thing that I'll test for you. I actually think that you probably won't see a massive dip in the CVR. Maybe it'll go from 5 to 4, but again, you're still well within KPI, man. And your ad stats are so good that you can afford it. Okay. So the first thing is to test price points specifically. So you can start with 50. 50 doesn't work. You can try 45, try 55. I like testing in a little bit bigger intervals. So in intervals of like 10 compared to intervals of 5, because it's gonna have you need some substantial boost, man. I'm not gonna lie. Like you need some serious boosts to your gross margin, because that's really what it's eating into, is like your gross margins here, because it's boosting your break-even return on ad spend from a 1.3 to a 1. What was it, 7.5. Right. So that's a first action point for you, man. The second is going to be AOV maxing. Okay. Let's just say, for example, nothing changed on the ad side. Let's say everything else stayed the same. You kept your product price the same. You kept it right around 40. Your COGS were the same. You still had to pay the bullshit VAT. I know it sucks. You still got to pay it. Let's say all of that stayed the same, but instead of having an AOV of 40, you had an AOV of 80. What would that do to your economics? Well, Instead of being at a 1.6 ROAS, you'd be above a 2x ROAS. You would immediately be profitable, like literally immediately. So I'm gonna say this with all the love in my heart. Your AOV sucks. It needs to be higher. And the reason I said it like that is because you have so many things right now, bro, that are working well. Like you're so close. Look at all this. This is beautiful, man. You know how many people struggle with all these things that you actually are getting right? You're doing all these things right, man. This is like the most important thing on your, on the ad side. And it's very well within KPI. Of course, some things could be improved. Hook rate could be a little bit better. Yeah. But like the most important thing, which is your CPC, is within KPI. If your CPA stayed the same and all you did was apply some post purchase upsells, it would not affect the conversion rate at all. But you could boost your AOV from like 40 to 60 or to 80. If you have questions about the funnel process, dude, just let me know. You can send me a message on school. But dude, I promise you, I know you've tested a lot. You've been testing this product for a while. I totally get it. But I'm telling you, you're so close. So close. All right, guys, let's move on to the next one. This is dope. I think I should do these type of calls more often because this is super tactical and I think this helps a lot of people. All right. I saw one from, I believe it was Tuan. You got to tell me how to pronounce his name, bro. I'm so sorry. I think it's probably Tuan. Tuan. Okay, cool. All right, bro. Let's see what you got. I've been testing this product for about 1.5 weeks. I have 8 different ad sets that have gone 1 to 3 sales with ROAS out between 2 and 4. Turned off 2 because CPC was like $6 after 3 days. So I assume lucky sale. Come on. Did you turn off something that was profitable? Yes. Come on, man. Come on. If the CPC was always $6 just forever, but it was consistently profitable, would you keep it on? Of course, yeah. I'm telling you that because that legitimately happens sometimes. I'm profitable overall on about half of my days. Okay. My first $100 spend, I got really lucky with five $80 sales, but it always seems to be new ad sets getting sales. Performance within the same ad sets is inconsistent day to day. Totally normal. Several ad sets I've had 2 sales in one day, which I make variations for, and the variations flop. And the original also flops for the next several days. Also, almost everyone who adds a cart ends up purchasing, but ATC is low. Okay, that's good to know. There's clearly demand for the product, but no superstar creatives yet, and some of my metrics are less than ideal. CPMs. $37 CPMs, 2% CTR, $2.82 CPC. Let me see if you sent any more data here. I feel like I saw more from you somewhere. All right, let me just drop it in here. I can give you, I'm not going to share the screen to show the product page, guys, because I'm sure he wants to keep it private. Oh shit. I used to sell this product. I also had one of my other students back in the day scale this product to like 6-figure months. All right. Now we got this data as well, guys. Sorry, just give me a second. I'm going through the chat. Find all this for Tuan. Break even ROAS is 1.33. See if there's anything else. Okay. All right. So, um, in terms of these numbers, man, I'm looking at your lander right now. What countries are you currently selling in? I think you said big four somewhere, but like tell me what countries you're selling in, please, Tuan. But if we're looking at the ad side data, Oh, UK only. That's right. Okay. Let me add that in here as well. Proper Brit. So CPMs for this market, dude, it's a little high. Honestly, I don't think that they should be this high for this particular market. Let's see if I can find out why. Also, let me know your AOV, please. Yeah, store looks really pretty good. AOV is 80. Yeah, I see you got the buy more, save more, which is great. Nice little pre-purchase AOV booster. AOV is 80. The front end is just 60 for like one single unit. I know I'm using dollars, but it's actually euros. It's all good. All right, guys. Let's have you dissect this one now. I've done 2 in a row. I want you guys to spam the chat. What is the main issue here? What is the main issue with Tuan? And then I'll give my own opinion afterwards. And Tuan, you can answer this as well. Andrew said CTR. Noud said CTR. What else, guys? CVR from Jet. The C, where is the CVR? Ah, okay, there it is. CPC and CTR, says Hunter. CPC is pretty bad. Okay. Creative suck. All right, so you guys were pretty accurate, some of you. The CTR, I'm actually a little bit less worried about. But once again, it is an indication of like the most important metric on the ad side, which is actually your CPC, which tells me that your creatives are not good enough. Number one. CPM, like I said, dude, it's a little bit high for this particular market, in my opinion. This is technically in the health market, but it's not really a transformational type product. Like if you think of the beauty products, for example, or pain relief market, like those markets are very competitive. But this one, I don't think that you should be facing CPMs as high, which is more data to support the conclusion that your creatives need work. CPC way too high, bro. For the UK only, you should be looking for $1.50 or below, which once again indicates that the CTR needs work, creatives need work. AOV is 80, front end is 60. This is also not within KPI, but you're not running funnels yet, which you don't need to. So I'm actually least worried about this part. So the AOV is not the biggest issue right now. We're not worried about that, dude. Having a nice little $20 cushion is great. The hook rate is actually pretty good. It's just about within KPI, which is 50%. Hold rate also pretty good, above like 25%, which is great. Total spend, there's sufficient spend here, nothing there. This is probably the biggest issue outside of your creatives. Break-even ROAS is good. Break-even ROAS is within KPI. So your conversion rate is not high enough. Your conversion rate is not high enough, and also your CPC is too high. So you kind of have, I'm going to say this in the nicest way I can, but if you take this offensively, I'm sorry. You basically have the 2 most important metrics when it comes to like running profitable paid ads are both outside of KPI, but they like feed off each other. So sometimes you can have one be a little bit higher and one's a little bit lower, and they kind of cancel each other out, and vice versa. But you basically have both of them way too fucking high. And by high, I mean like outside of KPI. And that is creating a clusterfuck of unprofitability for you. Because what this data says, like this data right here, it's basically saying, hey, your ads aren't very good, and it's very expensive to get somebody even on your website. And then this number here is like, and then when they do land on the website, they're still not really wanting to buy it. So you have 2 main issues here, man. This is the more important one, but this is equally as important. The most important one is that you need to be testing more creatives. Specifically, if we read the data, dude, look, your hook rate isn't bad. So like the hooks on your ads are working somehow and the hold rate is good. So most of the time people are actually continuing to watch your ad. But a lot of them are still not clicking. A lot of them are still not clicking, man, which tells me that you're probably writing very curiosity driven copy, not conversion focused copy. Because imagine if you're writing copy and you're telling people, like converting people very, very well, even if your CPC was really high, like it is now, but you're converting at like the conversion rates of the two previous guys that we talked to, like 4 to 5%, it wouldn't be a problem, right? You'd be chilling. But since you're getting these clicks that are not super qualified, then they land on the landing page and they're not super, um, they're not really converting. You have the worst of both worlds, not the best of both worlds. We have the worst of both worlds in this particular case. So taking a brief look at your landing page here, man. I would go and speak to the coach, whatever your main coach is. Go speak to him or her about what's going on here. If I were reviewing this, though, I would tell you, man, you're not selling the outcome. You're selling the features, maybe the benefits, but definitely not the outcomes. Ultimately, people are buying this particular product, man, for an outcome. They're buying for a transformation. They have a specific, condition and they want to see that condition go away. They want to see a visual improvement in that particular condition. I'm trying to be as vague as possible to not, give away the product. But you're not tapping into that enough, man. So the landing page needs work. I would look at like your add to cart percentage. I think you said most people don't add to cart, but when they do, they typically purchase. So the sales page is the main thing that needs work there on the funnel side. On the creative side, I haven't seen your creative, so I couldn't really tell you. But if I were to guess, I'm sure your hooks are pretty solid. I'm sure the copy is okay, but you're not building up the desire to actually buy the product, which means if you write it, copy anything like on the landing page, you're probably not focusing on selling on outcomes enough. You're selling you're not selling for the reason that people are buying it. That's basically the best way I can describe it. All right. I saw a question from Justin here. Justin said, at what point do you know if you've tested enough creatives and it's the product or something else wrong? What metrics do you look at to determine it's not an ads problem, or is that the case most of the time? Dude, everything that I went over today. That's how you know. In the case of I think it was Pedro. Yeah. So yeah, in the case of Pedro, he tested a lot of creatives, but his creative results are phenomenal. I mean, the CTR is damn near 5%. CPC is $1.15. Like, to answer your question, Justin, it's a matter of what is within KPI, what is outside of KPI. I've gone through that 3 separate times now. So look at your CPM, your CTR, your CPCs, look your CPA, look your hook rate, look your hold rate. That's all the ad side related things, right? If something is outside of KPI there, then you know what that is still a creative problem. Or if you have a very low conversion rate, in the case of Tuan here, then you know that it's a funnel related problem. Tuan has both issues, but yeah. Tuan, yes, you can absolutely sell outcomes without doing before and afters, 100%. I think you need to do more research on your market, man. I don't think you're really understanding why people actually buy this product. I would follow the foundational docs process that I have. I'm sure that you've seen it before. If you haven't, let me know. And I would legitimately like one thing I don't know if I say this publicly a lot, but when I show you guys the research that I do, a lot of everything that I do can be automated with AI. But the one thing that I actually want to do manually is I want to read about all the actual research. I really want to know deeply, why do people buy this? What does their day-to-day life look like? What are the emotional triggers that remind them why they want to buy this product? What is the core emotion here? Tuan, you said you've run a bit too much deep research. Yeah, but that's possible, dude. But again, people buy products for outcomes, not because of what the product does. It's what the product gets them ultimately. Either it's like a feeling, it's a physical transformation, it's something, but it's not for the product itself. That's not why people buy products. They don't buy products for the products, they buy products for the outcome that the product can get them. For example, I have this keyboard right here. It's beautiful. It's freaking awesome. I love it. Why did I buy this product? Did I buy it because I really like the keys? Well, even that in and of itself is an outcome. But the real reason I bought this is because typing on it is so fucking satisfying and it makes me want to work more. That's the outcome that I wanted. I wanted to make my work even more addicting. That was the outcome that I bought it for. And so the specific tactile sound that this keyboard makes me want to work even more. So you gotta understand, man. Tuan, you said one of the biggest pain points was reliability. And I ended up talking too much about the reliability features rather than tapping into frustration involved with device free. No, dude, you're still off. You're still focusing way too much on the product. It's deeper than the product. It's not about why this product is better than that product. It's ultimately about the transformation that people have when they use it. Who were they before and who are they going to be after? That's what you're missing, bro. Before people use their product, they look a specific way. Your job is to show them what they could look like. This is a physical transformation. Like, let's be real. This is like people can justify it however they want, but one of the main reasons that they buy it is for the physical transformation. Like, you want to think of this almost as like a weight loss product. What did they look like before? What do they look like after? That's what you need to communicate in your creatives and your copy and everything. Rizwan, what's up, brother? Dude, we only have like 2 minutes left. If you want to send it real quick, you're welcome to. As long as you're okay with me sharing it publicly. That's an important caveat. If that's cool with you, then I'll review it real quick. And then I gotta hop to another call. Don't want to share. Okay. Then you can yeah, you'll have to ask the coaches in that case, but it's all good, dude. Guys, hopefully this was really helpful. I'm happy to do calls like this more often. Um, if you want to make sure that your stuff is actually reviewed, come with the data, come with the numbers, come with all the links, and I'll review it as deeply as I possibly can. But we got through 3 people basically today, and there's very specific action points for each of them. And I promise you guys, for those of you that are reviewed, for you, Hunter, Pedro, and Tuan, if you actually improve those things, you guys are so close. Tuan, you're a little bit farther, but everybody else so close that if you actually take action on those action points, you will start seeing results very quickly. All right, guys. All right, legends. Thank you so much for hopping on the call. We'll talk to y'all later. Have a great week. Legends. And yeah, peace out. Later.